Talk about a blonde bombshell.
This has been day 5 of the Essex Ways, a 400-kilometre walking adventure around Essex to discover the county's most interesting stories and places to prove that there's a lot more to this county than meets the eye.
I began the day in Coggeshall, a town full of beautiful old charm from its wealthy heyday in the wool trade. You know it's a good town when the pub is older than the church and their hanging basket game is top notch. The town is said to sit on the crossing of multiple ley lines, meaning some seriously spooky business goes down. I met a lady who reckons she lived in a haunted brothel. Then there's Coggeshall Abbey, built in 1140 and home to tales of ghosts, riots, evil kings and witchcraft. One of the last women to be tried for witchcraft is buried in the churchyard. They dunked her in a river 3 times, but she laughed it off and told them to stick it up their arse. There's a proper Essex girl for you. Then I headed through some beautiful dreamy fields to Great Tay, where I stopped for lunch outside the 900-year-old Norman church tower. I had a croissant and toast with peanut butter and marmite. Not a substantial lunch, but the most I could muster while recovering from food poisoning. Then on to Chapel, with a viaduct that is one of the greatest feats of Essex engineering. I ran out of time to visit the pub because I was too busy trying to free a bumblebee from the church. Then I picked up the River Colne, littered with defensive pillboxes from World War II. Fortunately never used, but hard to picture the Nazis sailing up a river this small. In the afternoon I was getting quite sore legs and feeling quite tired. The lack of calories was catching up with me, and a stiff easterly breeze was chilling my bones. I wanted to get to the end point of West Bergholt as soon as possible, but I got distracted by a magnificent old oak tree, which reminded me that although much of Essex's landscape is manufactured, there are still bits that haven't changed very much at all and remember the olden days.
I finished the day at the Queen's Head pub, where Dibbs told me about how the village had moved over the course of 1,000 years since the Saxons built the old church. Gary told me about how loads of the village lost their jobs and the brewery closed in the 80s. And Kev told me about the time when somebody brought a Harley Davidson into the pub. Good selection of stories there. Tomorrow I'll pick back up from West Bergholt and I'll make my way to Dedham, Constable Country, also a place of saints, dragons and mythical giant kings. Is there really all that to be discovered? Join me tomorrow and we'll find out.